Hi there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about how I plan my pages in preparation for a color along, or really just any page that I plan to do. We are going to be working on a page from Mythographic Imagine. This probably will be a 2-video series, one where I kind of talk to you a little bit about the planning process. I have some short videos of like showing you how I do like my Pinterest images and how I download those to Canva, and I'll talk you through that a little bit too, and then we'll get to coloring some of the pages. So hopefully not too long of a video for this first part, but I think that it will go well. So this is the page that you all voted on for the color along for this month. I thought this was a really cool illustration. I love the sky whale. I love the rays kind of floating through, and yeah, I'm very excited to play with this. So I will go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and play the video that I took as I was looking up images that for inspiration and color palettes and things like that. And when we come back, I'll talk to you a little bit about my color placement. All right, opening Pinterest here. I'm going to tap on the search button at the bottom, and we're going to search for sky whale illustration today. I usually like to add illustration behind whatever it is I'm searching for. It just fits my vibe, I guess. It pulls up images that really inspire me, and yeah, you'll be able to see that as we scroll through today. There are just some beautiful illustrations that have popped up. And I really do like this one here with the pink clouds, the big pink clouds. So I will tap on that, and then there are 3 dots underneath the image, and then you have the option to download the image to your phone. So I like to do that. And then from there, I will take that image and put it into Canva, which you'll see here in a minute. And then, yeah, I'm just going to kind of scroll through and show you just a few of the illustrations that you can see. This is my kind of art style. If you wanted something a little bit more realistic, you could just type in, you could look specifically just for whales or just for clouds or whatever it is you are searching for. But I really love the illustrative style, so that's usually what I go for. Yeah, so here's another one that I really loved. Loved the glowing golden whale and the dark against the dark sky. I just thought that was really cool. And then I find a few more as we scroll through here. But yeah, just looking at some of the images, they're just so cool. And there were so many different ways that I wanted to go with this. But the ones that I kept really being drawn to are definitely, they all had kind of a similar vibe. There's one that's kind of outside the box, but yeah, this one was really cool too. I thought that was really cute. I ended up not saving that one, but yeah. Okay, so let's cut to a few more, and then I will show you how I put them into Canva. Okay, next we're going to open Canva, and there is a flyer there at the top there that you can see. That's usually what I use to put my collages together. So I'll click on that, and then at the bottom you can see the button for camera roll. So I'm going to click on that and then select the images that I've saved to my phone. We're going to import those into the flyer document. And then from there, I just go through and start sizing things, rearranging them so they fit on the page in a way that they all fit. It doesn't ever have to be like aesthetically pleasing, but I just, size them down until they all fit. And then what I'm left with is what you guys usually see, those inspiration sheets. I really like to do those, and it just really helps me see what I'm wanting to do with my page. So yeah, so I've got all of those, and then I did decide that I needed a couple more images. I have those rays on the page, so I wanted to make sure that I had some good ideas for how to color those guys. And yeah, I found some really cute ones. Again, adding the illustration behind it just makes the world of difference for me. And I think once you do it often enough in Pinterest, that it does kind of get what you're looking for and starts giving you more of those kind of images. So as you're searching, it just ends up finally being like, okay, you like this so much, here's a bunch more. So sometimes I'll just pop on Pinterest and I'll just find all kinds of awesome things. Okay, so I will show you a couple more illustrations here for rays. There's just so many cute ones, several that I was just super inspired by. So yeah, I add a couple more of those, and then I feel like I've got enough saved, so I'm going to go back to Canva and add those illustrations in as well to my inspiration sheet. Again, sizing everything down so that it fits. And then, yeah, and then it's good to go. I think I do add in a few little circles for color, but we don't need to go through that. I mean, that's just, it's really simple to do, but, well, I'll go ahead and show you. So there is an elements button at the bottom, and they have shapes, and you can just pick any shape. And so I picked the circle, and then I'm going to size that down. Maybe not that far, but size it down so that it fits in the space that's available on the side. This is just going to help me pick a few key colors that I'm kind of drawn to. I'm going to pick out 4 different colors. So I'm going to take that little circle, I'm going to duplicate it, and then I can do that 3 more times or 2 more times, and then I get 4 different circles. And then I will go through and select each circle and change the color. And thankfully there is a color picker. So I can find a color in one of those illustrations that I really like. Like, for example, this this periwinkle blue or indigo blue, goodness. And yeah, so I'm just going to go through, and with each of these, I'm going to change the color, and then it'll be all ready to go. Okay, so here is the final product. This is what I ended up with. It's good inspiration. So at the top, I'm going to save this now. So at the top of the screen, you can click on the button all the way to the right, and that will bring up another screen so that you can download this image to your phone. And I'll show you the steps here. Brings up a screen that asks you how you want to save it to your phone. I just usually use whatever it suggests. I save it, and then I am ready to print it from my phone. Okay, so here is my inspiration sheet. Now, not all of these are going to be used. These are all just a lot of different ideas that I thought looked cool. So I'll probably take bits and pieces of inspiration from different images here and apply them to my page. Now, because this page has this dark black sky in a certain parts over here, my thought process is to start my sky really light on this side and then go towards darker this way. I do like both this sky here and this sky here, where it's like the really light pinky, like peachy pink, all the way into like a blue violet, and then you can kind of continue that even more going into a black. So that's my thought process on the sky. I do really like multiple of these whales. Like, I like all of the whales that I pinned. I think I'm probably going to lean more towards, it's a toss-up between this like glowy golden one, which would be really cool. I'm just not sure how I would pull that off personally. And I really do like this purpley blue one, this indigo color. So I think I'm probably going to lean more towards this color whale. And then the rays, these are the 2 images that I ended up with for the rays, and I do like both of those. I like the mix of like the turquoise and the blue kind of mixed together. So these colors here were just colors that I just happened to pull from some of the images. Some of the base colors I like, here's that really pretty purpley blue color that I love, and along with that peachy color. I think that's a good combination along with like some cream colors. So that's my thought process. So like I said, starting off lighter here with like a really pale peachy pink color, and then gradually getting darker as we move across the page. I think all of the clouds will be a mix of I'm probably going to lean pretty heavily onto this one. I think this one's really calling my name. Yeah. And so like the clouds will start out like lighter towards the light source, and then as you move farther away, maybe darken up a little bit. So another thing is that this whale has wings, which I was not expecting, but I don't hate it. So I think what I might do is maybe pull some of the color, like some of this peachy pink color for the wings, maybe. And then on the rays here, like I said before, we're going to have a mix of like a blue and a turquoisey color. And then I'm just going to kind of take my color palette from that and apply it to the rest of the page. So the rope that's kind of woven through there will be a goldeny color, not super yellow, but kind of more pale cream color. I've got the leaves, all the leaves kind of will be really similar in color. I think they'll probably actually all be the same, just to keep the amount of different colors minimal. I will probably end up doing those like a purpley blue color. Let's see, what else do I have in here? I've got some of the hidden objects. So we have a life preserver down there. We have a telescope, a ship's wheel. So most of those, oh, and there's I think that's a harpoon right there. So most of those things will probably be colored again with the other colors that are in this color palette. I'll probably try to keep it pretty minimal. The wings here, and there's got lots of feathers floating through. Again, probably peachy pink, but with like lots of cream and white mixed in there too. And then last but not least, the flowers. Now, I think depending on where they are and depending what kind of background is, like what color background is behind them, will determine more what I decide to do with the flowers. I'm thinking like a nice creamy white color, but depending on how dark the sky ends up being here will kind of determine the color. Maybe more of like a pinky color. It'll kind of just be we'll have to wait and see on that one, I think. So yeah, I'm ready to get started. I think this is going to be a fun page, and yeah, looking forward to it. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so usually I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper and then I'm going to start pulling markers, and hopefully I can find a few in colors that I like. So I'm going to start with some really light peachy pink colors. I'm going to pull a few of those. Okay, so this is just a few random ones that I pulled just by cap colors. And now I'm just going to go through and test them and see which ones I like and which ones I don't. I do like that one, but it is starting to dry out a little bit, so that one might be set aside. I do like that one. Okay, those are very, very similar. This one has a little bit more pink in it, and this one has a little bit more peach in it. So it's more orangey and that's more pink. I think I like the pink one a little bit more. So we're going to try to go with that. I have a really super light one here. This is a very, very light, and we're going to go ahead and keep that just as a blender color, I think. All right, so those are the Copic markers that I pulled. Let's see what my Ohuhus, what ones I grabbed here. So that's another super light one. These ones are probably all very peach in tone. Oh, that's a good peach. Okay, that one might be a little too dark. I don't know that that's quite the right color. Let me grab a couple more for my Ohuhus. Yeah, that's way too orange, so that one's out. That is very dark pink, but it's not quite the right, I don't think that's quite right. And that's another one that's pretty flesh tone. So I think maybe I'll just stick with yeah, I like this one. We'll go with this one. That's a good one. Okay. So now that I've made a mess here, let's see what colors we ended up with. So I've got the really, really light one, and I'll label them this time so that I know what I'm working with. I do have some other darker pinks that I would like to mix with those. So let me check some of these real quick. That is out because that is too dark. That's a possibility. That one is the same as this, basically, so I don't need that one. I don't hate that one. I like that one too. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with these. So I do like this R21 from my Copics. And I do like the R43. So these are both definitely more peachy reds. Like they're definitely on the warmer side of reds. Okay. All right, let me put some of these other colors away and we'll start in with the next colors. All right, I went through and pulled what I'm hoping is some nice blue-violet colors. That one looks nice. Let's see what this one looks like. That one is very pale, but again, a nice combination of the two of those would be great. That one is a really good one. And then what's this one look like? That one's a nice dark. So yeah, I was spot on those. That's perfect. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and use these guys. So I've got this one here, so that's B340. All right. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm going to grab a few like very pale creamy colors and see if I can get something that will work for blending. Okay, so I think I've settled on the Y00, which is still a little yellow, but that's okay. I think I can make it a little bit different. Well, let me try this one really quick. Hold on. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to go with this Y00. And we have a Y120, which kind of gives a little bit of like a peachy color, but I think it will mesh well with all of these other colors. So that's Y120. Okay, so we've got some sky colors and some other colors that we can use. I would like to look a little bit closer into the rays here. I kind of want to keep with that blue gray theme. I am running out of room a little bit. That one's real close to what we've got, but it's just a little bluer. I don't know if you can. Yeah, so I kind of like that color. Okay, I like that one as well. And then let me see if I can find a really nice light turquoisey kind of color. Okay, not exactly turquoise, but I think those three colors will be good for the rays. I hope. So we're gonna go with this B120. So yeah, that's kind of how I go through. I just go through and test all of the colors on a scrap piece of paper and see what matches with the way that I'm wanting to go. And then I have my list of colors. And then from this, I will also go through and find the pencil set or the few pencils that I really like to complement my markers. And then I'm also going to decide if I want to use any, embellishments, any stickles or anything like that. I could use a silver or a gold on this page for some of the hidden objects. So for the telescope and for the harpoon and parts of the wagon, the ship's wheel, on the captain's hat up here, like all of those might be okay with a little bit of embellishments, but I'm not quite sure on that yet. I think I might use some stickles on the wings and the feathers. That might be the extent that I'm going to do, but keeping that in mind, I might come through with gel pens or something like that too, but I think it's just going to be stickles. That's my thought process currently. It can always change. So yeah, so let's just start coloring. I think that's kind of it. I've talked a little bit about how to find the images, how to load them into Canva, and then how to kind of find your colors from that. I do need to say, I guess, that I use a HP Envy printer, and I typically just print on regular old copy paper for my inspiration images. If I go to print a page that I'm going to color on, I usually use a piece of cardstock, but typically just for inspiration images, I just use regular copy paper. So yeah, so I think the next step is to color. So let's get to it. Okay, when I do a page, I like to start from the background and work forward. I always feel better about my chances of having a successful page if I do the background first. That way it gives me like the sense of the feel of the page, like how it's going to look. And then I can sometimes base my colors in the foreground off of what I've done in the background, depending on, if I want it to contrast, if I want it to complement, all of those things. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to add in some colors here, and we're going to do a little bit of blending. It's going to look like a hot mess at first, probably, but we're just going to keep playing with it and hope that it works out. That's usually how my pages go, though. Okay, so I'm going to start with my very, very lightest yellow, and I'm going to add a little bit around like this. I'm not even coloring straight, and I'm just barely touching the page. I am going to leave a little bit of a white space too on the page. I'm not trying to find my words. I'm so sorry. I'm leaving a little bit of white space there in the center just to kind of give it more of that glowy look. Okay, now I'm going to start with some of these pinks. So I'm going to start with my lightest pink, and we're going to just kind of go from there and hope that this is going to work out the way that I want. I'm going to attempt to not color over top of the images, but if it happens, typically I can cover stuff up with other alcohol markers or pencils. So if I go over the edge a little bit, I'm not super worried about it, especially with these lighter colors. Okay, we're going to go with the next darkest. So this is the R. And as I'm coloring, I'm going to keep in mind that it's got to get darker here, right? So this area here is going to be the darkest where I'm coloring. And so I want to keep it kind of curved as well as I'm laying my colors down, so that I can add the darker colors here and it will blend well enough into what we've got going here. So, okay, I am going to grab, let's see, what color do I want next? I want the R30, I think. Yeah. So I'm trying to find out how much of the background is going to be in here. I don't think there's a ton, so we're just going to add colors as we go around and just flick the colors out. Now I like to do this more with my water mediums because they are a lot more forgiving, the alcohol markers. I know that I can come back through and add more layers with the alcohol markers, or add color pencils and stuff like that, but for some reason I feel more confident when I do backgrounds like this with water mediums. This is R21. And I also kind of need to figure out where the sky is for a lot of this. So this looks like it's all probably clouds behind there, but maybe a little bit of sky has leaked in that part. And so like this section in here, I feel like that probably has some sky. So we're just going to start adding some color into those sections. Doing the best that we can to avoid the elements in the foreground. Okay, and then after this first layer, I will definitely be adding some more layers. So this is just to kind of get me started and kind of map out where I want my colors. So it looks like this is all sky here, and sky here. Now see here, it looks like the clouds are up over the girl, but I don't like the way that looks. So I'm gonna grab my pen and try to fix that little bit really quick. Okay, and I'm just gonna add a little bit right in here. And yes, I'm just using a ballpoint pen because I cannot find my other pen right now. So We're just gonna go with that. Okay, and so I'm gonna blend this in a little bit more because right in here is where it's gonna start getting dark. So I'm gonna see if I can just blend. Now it's gonna look crazy at first. I feel like it probably will. Trying to blend in some of the darker colors from back here. So I'm gonna grab this darkest one and we're just gonna go for it. And just add a little bit and then try to blend it. And hopefully that doesn't create like a weird muddy color, but if it does, I can try to fix things with my pencils later on. Yeah, because I feel like this dark is going to be here, so no, I feel like that's good. Maybe I won't do any more of that. Oh, this is all, wait, what is that? Yeah, that is the only hard part about these. I think that's all cloud back there. The only hard part about these Mythographic Imagine, especially in this book in particular, is it's real hard to tell what's what when you are first coming in to try to color things. Okay, and I'm just blending things a little bit here and there, making sure that the background is covered. I am going to add a few just extra little swipes across the sky just to give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more interest. And then blend those out as I go. Okay, and you can see that it's still looking pretty streaky, but I feel like it's going to be all right as we keep adding layers. It'll just kind of look like a cool sky. At least that's my hope. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to grab this yellow color now, and we're just going to bring that yellow out into the pinks and the peaches and hope that that kind of meshes well together. Okay, we're going to give that a little bit to dry and see what happens. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to have to bring in my some of my colored pencils to help with the sky part over here. I just feel like that's going to be a better way to go. I'm also going to grab my colorless blender and just get in there so that it blends well there. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the clouds. So this one is another one where it's kind of, I'm trying to decide if I want to do all pinks or if I just want like the edges to be pinks and then the blues from there. Or we could just do the whale, which I think that might be what I want to do first. So I think I'm going to grab this BB13. I liked this one for the whale, and I'm just going to color the top part of the whale in these colors. I'm going to leave his belly a little bit lighter. But the fins and all of that. I think with the clouds, what I might do is bring in some chalk pastel, because I feel like that's going to be a better way to go for me so that I'm getting a lot of coverage down. I'm not using as much of my ink as it would take to do all those clouds, but I'm also getting that really cool lighter coverage as well. Okay, so I feel like the belly kind of stops right at brown in there, so we're just gonna go all the way down to there and guess that that's all whale. Okay, I like that. Yeah, it's hard to see because you've got clouds going over top and you've got, you know, all of the stuff. Okay, I'm just going to finish off the top part of the whale here. I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, I do like that color for the whale. I'm going to go with one of these bluer colors for the rays, and I think I'm going to go with the darker one. So this PB1, I'm going to go ahead. No, I lied. I'm going to give the rays this B01 coat, and then I can come back in with my darker colors after that and add in shadows and different things like that. So a lot of the times when I use alcohol markers, I don't do a lot of like blending work with the actual alcohol markers. Most of the time it's just for a base layer, because I find that that's easiest for me to come back in with my colored pencils and do the work that way. Now, it does take longer. If I could figure out how to always use my alcohol markers, I would be all about it, but it doesn't always work that way. So I've just kind of figured out the best way for me to do this. Okay, I do like that color, and I feel like I can darken things up and lighten things up depending on what I need to do. Oh, I need to get this tail. This isn't quite as turquoisey as I was hoping it was, but it's still, I think, going to be good with this color combo. Okay, and then there's one more ray, right? Like that's the last one. Yeah. Okay, so chalk pastels. I use the Mungu Soft Pastels, and this is a value brand. They're just little rectangles of chalk, and I like to use them two different ways. So I will sometimes put them on these cotton pads, and then I also will use these little makeup blenders to add the color on. And when I use that, I will scrape some of the chalk off and use a little piece of paper as a palette. Okay, so yeah, definitely going to use some chalks for the clouds. So we're going to start with a lighter pink color, because I know that I want like the edges of my clouds and anything that's on this side on the clouds to all be like a lighter pinky, peachy color. So I have this is like a neon color, but it's really soft and pretty. So I think I'm going to try to use this as like the edges of the clouds. And so I'm just going to go through and along the edges, just add that color in. Now the background of this is just crazy. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll come in with my eraser and erase the parts that I know that I don't want to have color on it. Okay. So we're going to do all of this part here with the chalk. Okay. I think that'll be it for that color. So I feel like that is all flowers and stuff. Okay, next I'm gonna grab a little bit of an in-between color. So I'm trying to find a color that's gonna be a good color to kind of blend into the darker blue, purpley blue color. So I'm gonna try this like magenta color, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. All right, and then next I'm gonna use a couple of different purples. So I have, well, let's try this. I have the light purple. I'm not sure if that will, yeah, that'll be all right. So I have the light purple. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of a darker purple. And we're gonna go to the edges with that one, but then I'm gonna come in with a little bit of a blue to create more of that blue violet color that I'm wanting in this area. And again, I'm gonna have to come in with my eraser and just kind of erase all of the chocolate I've gone over top of things, but I think it'll be okay. I think that'll be a nice blend, and it won't be hard to erase those. So that'll be a good look for the clouds. Okay, now we're gonna come in with this dark blue. I'm gonna go over the purple, but might have to come in with more purple as well to go over top of this blue. Okay, one more layer of the purple. Okay, so that looks like a hot mess, but I think I got it all covered. So now I'm just going to take my eraser. I have this this electric eraser, and I also have my Tombow Mono eraser that I can get into tiny little bits. So I'm going to go through and erase some stuff, and when we come back, that should be the next layer done, and we should be ready to move on to the next step. Okay, here is it all cleaned up. Now you'll notice up in the corners here where I did the really darker colors, you're going to have a little bit of that color show through, but once we get some pencil on there or even just some markers on there, it's going to go away. You won't even notice that it's there. So I am not overly worried about that. I did try my best to avoid the flowers, but I still got a little bit here, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. Okay. I do like the way that this looks so far. I'm going to go ahead and add my pink color to the bottom of the whale. I'm going to go with, I think I'm just going to use the lightest color that I have, and then we'll see how I can do shading and stuff from that. So it's just a super light peachy color. There we go. Okay. And then the wings, I'm going to kind of do the same. I'm just going to add a little bit of this peachy color to bits and pieces of it, because I do want a lot of like gold kind of colors and white kind of mixed in with the, so I'm leaving the ends of the feathers kind of open so that I can add in the white there. Okay, I think that should be everything there. Cool. All right, while I have my markers out, I'm going to continue with coloring in elements. So I'm going to go ahead and color this rope with this kind of yellowy, peachy color that I've grabbed. So we're just going to do the whole rope in this color. All right, I'm going to use this BV13. So this is like a nice bluey purple color. I think it's the same color I used on the whale. I'm going to use that on all of the leaves and flower stems. So I'm going to go through and color all of those in, and I will be right back with you guys. So it's just a straight marker base all the way across all of the leaves and flowers on the page. Or not leaves and flowers, leaves and stems on the page. I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, here's where we are after most of the alcohol marker work is done. Pretty much all of it, I think. I don't think I'm going to use any more. And then we're going to go through, I'm going to add a little bit more chalk pastel in just a couple of areas on the clouds, but I'm going to use my craft knife and my palette to kind of get some good color in there. So I'm going to start with a very light yellowy peachy color. I'm just going to get a little bit of that on my palette. And then I use this eye makeup thing, get a little bit of color on there. I'm just going to go around the edges of this really quick just to give a little bit more warmth, especially around the areas that are closest to this light. Just at the edges. Now I can come back in and do some work with, you know, like paint pens and stuff like that, which I might end up doing that later on. But for now, I just want to get that done with the chalk. So yeah, I'm adding a little bit of this golden color right over top of what I've already done. Okay, now I'm going to grab that neon red color and pick up a little bit of that and do the next layer. this sunset is this sky page is definitely turning a little bit more tropical than I had anticipated it being, but I don't hate it. So we're just going to kind of go with it and see what happens. I'm getting the, I'm using this little blender so that I can really get in there and I don't have to go through and erase things again, because I don't want to have to mess with that all over again. Okay, I do like that. I'm going to add a little bit more of this color. Might need to grab some more, actually. Okay. And then I'm going to go to this vibrant fuchsia magenta color. Grab some of that and kind of blend that down into the purples as well. Okay, I do have a little bit more marker work to do. I'm going to add this R43, so this is my darkest like red color or pinky color. I'm going to add that on the life preserver here. And then I'm also going to use it on the ship's wheel. But I am going to bring in a little bit of gold, I think, too, to do some of the metal work on the ship's wheel. I know normally they're, that part needs to be the right color. Normally they are made of wood, but I wanted to do a pink one, so we're just going to do that. Okay. And then this harpoon and the ship's hat, captain's hat is going to be, I know it should be white, but I'm going to make it be this pink color. And then we'll have like gold or something on the helmet. I think I'm going to make this gold. I'm going to make the harpoon gold, and then we'll be good, I think. That sounds like a plan to me. I'm going to go ahead and do this part all pink. There we go. Okay. So what do we think so far? I think it's looking interesting. It's definitely more, like I said earlier, a more tropical feel than I was going for, but I don't dislike that. So I think that we're good. I just need to I'm going to go grab some pencils and we'll get started. I'm going to show you kind of what my plan is for the clouds in the background, because that'll be my next step to do. Because again, I try to start from the back and work up, especially, you know, like in the stages. So if I have my alcohol marker work, I'll start in the back and work up, and then I'll go to my pencils, start in the back and work up. I hope that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so let me grab some pencils and we'll get started on the clouds. Okay, so I decided to go with my Polychromos today. So I haven't used these pencils in a little while and I love them, so I need to use them more. And they have a lot of the colors that I'm wanting to use on the page. So for example, in the background, I've got some really good blue-violet colors. I have some nice orchid kind of colors, some good salmon-y pink coral colors. So yeah, I think those will work. I just need to grab those out. So let me grab those really quick. Okay, so you can see the colors I have here. So I have cream, I have the light chrome yellow, I have salmon, I have the middle purple pink, I have the crimson and the blue violet. So this is kind of, you can kind of see it matches my page. And so I'm just going to use these colors as I go through. So depending on what color is underneath is going to determine what color I use. So again, on the edges of these clouds, I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm using the cream first, and then I'll use the yellow color that I grabbed. Okay, so we're just going to do, and this one's going to be used very lightly because it's a little bit of a darker color, and I don't want this to be completely yellow, but I do want a nice yellow rim light here. Okay, All right, so those are done. So then we're going to go to the salmon color, and that's going to be a really good color for this next layer of stuff. And because I already have my chalk pastel down, I don't have to do a big layer of, I don't have to do a whole bunch of color. I can just add some shadows here and there and it'll be fine. It doesn't have to be completely recovered with pencils. I hope that makes sense. This one is not quite the right color, but we'll just add some more color over top of that. So yeah, depending on what color you've got, it's gonna kind of determine where the colors go. Okay, so now the shadows switch a little bit here. So this whole section here doesn't really have, I'm just gonna add a little bit of salmon into this part so that it looks like she's still standing on something and not just floating. But then I'll use the middle purple pink color to really add the shadows under these parts of the clouds. And again, this is, you know, normal shading, so you want to press harder where the lines overlap and then use lighter pressure as you move away from the cloud or away from the line. So yeah, that is my game plan on all of these clouds. So I'll kind of show you what that's going to look like a little bit. Let you guys kind of see that. I'm going to use the salmon just to emphasize a few of the lines here so that it doesn't look like it's just disappearing. Okay, and then like in this area here, and I'll darken that up a little. Now because this whole section is already kind of done, there's no like other little cloud bits in there. I don't know if that was all supposed to be cloud, but I made it all cloud. We're just going to, I'm just going to leave that, I think, and move on to the next section of cloud, I think. Yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so let's do a little bit of like the purple into blue here. So we've got a little bit of the pink color here, then we'll start working with this crimson color. But as you can guess, the majority of the clouds are going to be the this blue violet. And I'm just, anytime clouds overlap, it gets a little bit of shadowy color, and anytime there are texture lines along the edges of the clouds, it also gets a little bit of color there. I hope that made a semblance of sense, but I'll kind of keep coloring here so you can see what I mean. I actually might need a darker blue than that, or a darker purpley color. I'm going to try this Delft blue and see if that is more blue. Yeah, that one's going to have to be the darker one. So this part here is just a little too purple, and we wanted a little bit more blue. We wanted a little bit blue violet in there. Okay, so that's basically all I'm going to do all the way around this this whole page. I'm going to get all of the clouds kind of shaded, and then we'll come back and I'll show you kind of how I would embellish those a little bit, so that if you want to do the clouds like this, you know how to do it. We'll also be adding shadows and stuff in later, so I'm not worried about the shadows at this point in time. We'll worry about that more a little bit later. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go through and do all this shading, and I will talk to you guys again here in a little while. Okay, so I have all of the shading done on the clouds. I have started to go through and add white to the edges of the clouds. So anywhere where I think there might be a highlight or where these black lines are against the edge of the clouds, I'm gonna just go ahead and add some white to that. I was gonna try originally to use like colored paint pens, which I think probably somebody could pull off really well. It just was not looking right to me, so I just grabbed my white because that's what I feel comfortable with. So whatever you feel comfortable doing, you don't even have to outline these if you don't want to. But yeah, I'm going to go through and I'm going to outline every single bit of the clouds, except like on the bottom parts, I'm not, because the light's over here. So everything that's, you get what I'm saying, right? Like all of the stuff that would be in the light is what's going to get some highlights. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to go through and just get all of this highlighted with my paint pen, and then we will be back again and we will work on the next element. Okay, got all of the clouds added in, all of the white Posca around on the highlighted areas, added a few little dots to some of the areas too, just to give it a little bit more fun and interest. So next, I think what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the whale. I'm going to grab a couple of pencils. I think I'm going to stick with my Polychromos, and I'm just going to use some of the colors that I already have. So I have this Andantharin blue, I have Delft blue, and the blue violet, and I'm going to try to just use these guys and see if I can make it look all right. So I'm going to start with the blue, and then we'll use the more blue-violet colors here in a second. So I'm just going to add in the shading where it looks like it might need some. This is super, super technical jargon there. Add it where you think. Add it where it looks like it might need some. But yeah, anywhere where things are overlapping, like especially like where the clouds overlap it, and anywhere where the artist has drawn in lines, you know, add the shadows where the shadows should be. So some of the stuff that I don't really know what to do with in the background. So we've got like all of these. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So all of these things, like these just things like smoky, magical, misty, whatever they are, I don't really know what to do with those yet. And I don't really know what to do with all of these little dots of things that are flying off. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. And it's a little frustrating because I don't know what to do with it. So yeah. The other thing that I need to make sure when I come in to do the leaves, because they're basically the same color as the whale's body, I need to kind of think about making sure that I have enough contrast between those things. So definitely we'll get some, I'll just go ahead and do it. I'll definitely have like some pretty heavy shadows underneath when the leaves overlap the whale's body, just so they stand out pretty well. Okay, so let's switch to the Delft blue. So I'm just going to go right over top of everything that I just did and give a nice a little bit more purpley vibe instead of so much blue. I do have to be careful here because I've kind of had this area right here be the rest of like the whale's tummy, and then it goes into the clouds, I guess. That was kind of my thought process on that one. Yeah, so just right now I'm just kind of going along the edge with a light touch with this Delft blue, just to give it a little bit of definition. Sometimes when you do that and you add, you leave that little bit of a line between the line art and the color pencil you're putting down, it just creates I don't know what it creates something. I like it. I don't know what it is exactly, but I like it. Yeah, super technical here today. Okay, let me see if I can find another kind of bluish purple color here. All right, I did have to bring in a Black Widow pencil. So this is Picasso Sky. This is from the Dragon set. And I just feel like this is a good one for adding some color and shading or blending the colors that I've just used. I just feel like it's going to be a good match. Actually, it's a little blue, a little light, but it's all right. We'll make it work. So yeah, I'm just using this to soften up where the other colors kind of stopped. So that's not just a harsh transition from the darker color into the lighter alcohol marker underneath. It just helps to add in those transition colors for sure. Okay, I'm gonna try to use some of this Delft. I didn't use it around the eye yet. So we'll get some of that in there. Okay. Blend that out just a tiny bit. And if I get, some of this lighter blue into the skin tone, it doesn't look terrible. I'm going to come through also with some white to kind of add highlights in a couple of places. Again, the beauty of using alcohol markers to base your pictures is you can use the white Prismacolor really well to just add in beautiful highlights, which just add just a nice touch to your image. Okay. I think that part is done. I do like that. Okay, let's get the tummy of the whale. I need something very light. I'm probably going to dip into my Black Widows again for this one. Okay, so I grabbed the Bliss, the Fudge, and the Ice Cream. And these are all three from the Monarch set, which if you like pastel colors, that's a really great set of Black Widows to buy. They just have some really cool colors. Okay, I'm going to use the Fudge color because it's a little bit more peachy. I'm going to use that one first in all of the areas where we've got a little bit of detail drawn in. Probably going to use similar colors for the wings too. Okay, I'm going to use my Bliss now, which is more of a pinky color. And we're just going to shade out from that just a little bit. Using light pressure here, no hard pressure. Black Widows are definitely a layering pencil. You don't want to push too hard with them. Okay, and then I'm going to use the Ice Cream color, which is like it's almost like a cream, but it still has a lot of peach in it too. And that's going to go right in there. I might grab another pink because I want this to be a little bit more pink, I think. Pink, I think. You know what? I'm just going to grab this Polychromos that I already have. So this is the middle purple pink, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that in. Just in like the super darkest areas. All right, I do like that. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow underneath these bumps on the whale. Okay. wings. Yeah, I'm going to use the same kind of colors for the top couple of layers of the wings, and then the bottom one I want it to kind of fade off into some white. So let's start again with the fudge color, and I'm just going to go right along the top edge of this wing here. Okay, I like that. Let's use the bliss on the next one. And again, I'm making it a little bit darker, like underneath where this top wing overlaps, and then lightening up my pressure quite a bit before I get to the end of the feather. In some cases, I'm not even getting to the end of the feather. It's just fading into white. Cool, I like that. All right, and then I'm gonna have to, well, you know what, I'm gonna add some of that middle purple pink on top of the fudge. And again, here, just to darken up those shadows just a little bit. Cool. All right, let's start again with the bliss color. And that's just a little bit right at the top. And then we're going to use the ice cream to blend that out as best we can. These are some wings still down this way too, so I want to make sure that they have just a tiny bit of color. And then I'll use my white on like the edges of the wings. I'm going to try something with this Picasso sky and try to add in some shadows with that instead of the pink. Yeah, that looks okay. Let's do that up here too. Sometimes when you add purples in, it makes it so that it looks like it's an actual shadow instead of just a darker color. Okay, yeah, I like that. I'm just going to add in a few little strokes with the Picasso. So this is a very light bluish purple. Yeah, I like that. You know what, I might just add some in here too. Just a few little strokes. Okay. Yep, I like that. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side over here as well, and I will record that and speed it up a little bit for you, and I will talk to you again here in a second. Okay, so now we're going to come in with the Posca again, and I'm going to just add little strokes along the ends of the feathers just to kind of create a feathery look. And I'm going to do this on both wings. It's kind of hard to do that when it's, you know, overlapped by stuff, but that's kind of how I would create the little feather texture. So it's just very light, quick little flicks with the Posca. And like these little feathers that are at the top of the wing here are all going to get a little bit of dots. Okay, and then just this last little bit over here, and then we will be done with the feathers. All right, and then I'm also going to use my Posca to add in a little bit of detail on the whale's face here. So anywhere where these little bumps are. It's going to get a little dot. If I add in extras, that's okay, because it's just about creating depth and interest. I am going to put a few of the white dots along where these darker areas are too. And then a line right above a couple of these black lines that the artist has drawn in. Okay. Let's see, I do like a little bit of little teeny tiny dots around the eye. Okay, a little bit here, I think. And then probably some on the, you know what, I'll just do a few along the highlighted area where I've got the white Prismacolor there. There, and then a few little dots on the tail, I think, too. Okay, and I think that is our whale all done. I like it. I like the wings. Good to go. Okay, next up, let's do the rays, because there are several of them and I need to get them colored. Okay, rays next. Okay, so I'm just going to color these two guys just so you can kind of see what I do for these, and then I'm going to do the rest of them off screen. There's only 3 others, so it's not like it's a huge undertaking. Oh, I got some alcohol marker or something there. Okay, so I'm going to refer to my inspiration images. Just the fact that I like the lighter body area, and like underneath is lighter, and then the tips of the wings and the tail are darker. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing, and then I'll be adding in some white Posca as well. So I think what I'm going to start with is this wing here, since this is the top of the ray, and a little bit right in here. I'm going to use, I'm using a combination of colors. So the Indanthrone Blue, I grabbed the Ultramarine from my Polychromos, because I feel like that will be a good in-between color here. Yeah, I already like that. And then I grabbed the light cobalt turquoise along with a couple of Black Widow pencils. So I have the Picasso Sky and the green slime. And the green slime is really just because I wanted to make sure that like the tops of the rays are warmer. So that green will really help to warm that up a little. So I'm still going to add just a little bit of darkness to the edge there, but most of the shading for this part will be lighter. Okay. So using the Indanthrone Blue again and the, whatever this one was, Ultramarine. Okay, so let's just do that. For the wing, I'm going to try first. No, that's about the same color. Okay, so I need a little bit, let's just try this one. So I'm just going to use a very light touch with the Ultramarine. I feel like that's a good combo. I'm going to use, yeah, see, that's just about the same color as the marker underneath, so that's good. I can blend this out just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to use my white to just add in a little bit of highlight there and along the bottom of the ray. Cool. And then we'll add in some dots. So we're going to do a few on the tip of the wing and a few closer, a few up on there. Okay, and then we'll grab a couple that go back that way and a couple that go over the nose. So yeah, not too difficult on that. I'm going to do this other one, and then I'm going to go off screen and finish the rest, but it's going to be pretty similar concept. I might use this green slime this time though, so we'll see about that. So this is all definitely going to be darker though. So let's get this started here. So again, Indanthrone Blue. Yeah, and then this whole section, like right along the top, is what's kind of supposed to be a little bit lighter. So that's what I'm going to try to keep light. Okay, so I'm using the ultramarine now, just blending things in. I am going to use this ultramarine lightly to do a little bit of shading with just a couple of places there. Okay, and then we're going to use whatever this one was. What is this? Light cobalt turquoise to do a little bit of blending. So this is just basically just going to be going back and forth and shading until I'm happy with the look. I feel like I need just a little bit more blue on the wing. I know they're not wings, but they look like wings, so I'm going to call them wings. I am going to add just a little bit of this green slime. So this is a very, very light touch, but right through the center. You can see kind of how it warms it up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to use the ultramarine for a little bit of shading and then blend that out underneath there. Okay, got to get the tail done too, so I'm going to add a little bit color to that. This one I'm not liking quite as much, but it's all right. It's not terrible. Okay, so get some white in here. And do a little bit of white right through the center too. Okay, and then we're going to add in our dots. I feel like this could be blended a little bit better, but it's just not wanting to cooperate. So we're just going to leave it. It looks good. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go off screen and do these other three, and I will be back with you in a second. Okay, rays are all done. I think they look cute. I'm liking the way that this is going. Very excited. So I'm going to start working on the leaves here. So I'm going to do a little bit with you on screen, and then we will cut to those being done as well. Leaves and flowers. I'll just do this whole little section down here so you guys can see how I am planning to attack those. Okay, so I'm going to use similar colors that I've been using. So indanthrone blue and the Delft blue. And then adding in shadow. So I'm not going to go into super detail on the leaves. I'm just going to add a little bit of color there and then a little bit on the edge. We're going to blend it just a little bit with the Delft blue so it's not quite so blue. And then we're going to add in highlight with the white Posca. So not a hard thing to do for the leaves really, but it does really make a difference once you start getting all of these leaves shaded in. It does really start to look a lot better. And I think the highlights really do add a lot to the leaves. So yeah, let me do a couple more of those and then you guys can kind of see what my game plan is for the leaves. And then we'll do a couple of the flowers here. And then I'll finish the rest of those off screen. Okay, yeah, and then just, you know, adding shadow when the vine of the leaf gets smaller or when it overlaps something else. So yeah, you can kind of see what I mean there. Okay, so yeah, all of the leaves are going to look like that. Then we'll do, I think this is the only part where there are leaves right around the flower. It's going to be similar, it's just the same kind of thing. We'll just add a light. So it's a pretty repetitive motion. That's why sometimes you'll hear people say, you know, they don't like to color leaves because it's the same kind of thing over and over. Okay, let's do the flowers. So I've got my colors set for my leaves. Let me think about the flowers here for a second. I want them to stand out from the background a little bit. Trying to decide if I do like a white flower, if that will make it pop off the background enough. I don't know that I want to bring in another color currently. Yeah, so I'm thinking white. We're going to go white, but I'm going to use some of the colors that I've used with the backgrounds and stuff as my shadow colors for this one. So I'm going to use the salmon from my Polychromos. I'm going to use the fudge. No, fudge? Yeah, no. I'm going to use the ice cream. And then we'll use the white. So those are the 3 colors I'm going to be using, I think. Let me sharpen these real quick. So we're going to start with the salmon, and just in the darkest areas, this is where this color goes. And you know what the darkest areas are because the artist has drawn it in for you. So that is a very handy thing to know. Okay, and then I'm going to shade outward from there with the ice cream. I'm going to need a darker color in the center there. So I'm going to use my Picasso Sky as a really dark shadow color and see if that helps kind of separate the flower petals from each other. Because when I come in with my white, it's going to look wonky if everything is the same shade. Like you need the shadows in there to create dimension and depth. Okay, that's white. Let me see. Yeah, and then I will be using my Posca on these. Mostly on the edges. Don't have to outline the whole flower. Yeah, I was a little worried that it was just going to blend in too much, and that might be the case. I might have to come in with my dark blue and just make sure that I've got a nice outline of color everywhere. All right, well, that's one way of doing it. Let's try another way. I'm going to start again with the Indian Throne Blue, but just really, really lightly, like super lightly. I think that's part of the leaf. Okay, I'm going to extend that out a little bit with the Picasso. And this is really just going to create that shadow color for us. Okay, I'm going to try with the, there we go. So this is the salmon now, and the ice cream. And then we'll go over everything with the white. And then a quick outline with my Posca. All right, I'm not sure if I like that one. I like this one a little bit better, I think, even though there's less shadow in there. I don't know. I think I like this one better. This one has too much blue, I think. I'll try to add in a little bit more pink on that. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go with this one, the first one that I did. And I'm going to do that for all the flowers. And then you saw how I was going to do the leaves. So yeah, I'm going to go off screen, finish all that up, and I will be back with you in just a minute. Okay, so here we are. I've got the flowers all done. I got the leaves all done. The next step that I want to take is to color all these little hidden objects that are around. They're not going to be super hard to do at all. I did actually do this one. I was off screen and I just kept coloring and forgot that I needed to do this on camera. But it's basically, I just used my middle purple pink on top of like this peachy color that I have, or this coral color that I have in the background, just in a couple of the shadow spots. I used the white for a little bit of highlight, and then I've used my Sparkle Pop Gold to add in a little bit of detail. a little bit of shine. So you can see that on those two images there. Okay, and then I'm also gonna do kind of the same thing on these other things. So this harpoon is just gonna be straight gold. So I'll color that real quick. And then the little cord is gonna be this middle purple pink color. Okay. Telescope, I think I'm gonna do kind of the same thing. The outside's gonna be all gold. I'm gonna do a little bit of like a purpley color for the lens though. Just a little bit around the outside, and then we'll do white on the inside. There we go. Yeah, and then I'll do gold around the telescope here. Periscope? I don't know what this is called. Something scope. Use my white Posca to just add in a little highlight there. A little bit across the top of the looking glass. That's what it is, right? And then the last one is the little life preserver down here, which already has basically, you know, the whole color is basically done. I'm going to add, I'm just going to do this. I was going to use a different thing, but I'm just going to use the gold for the little rope that goes with it. Yeah, and then that's done. Okay, let's see. Now we've got feathers. We've got the rope. It's this rope that's kind of through here, and we've got all of these little weird pieces, which I'm still trying to figure out. So let's do the rope first. I just feel like that'll be easier. I'm very tempted to use my gold, but I don't think I'm going to. So I did put like a creamy golden color on this previously. I'm going to use my crimson and a little bit of the yellow, and that should give me a nice shadow color for that. When you mix those two together, you should get a brownish color. But I think that that'll be just fine for what I need. I don't need it to be super detailed. Okay, I am going to add in just a little bit of shadow just right along the edge of the rope where it kind of overlaps with things. So underneath or to the left. I'm using my Polychromos and Danthrin Blue to do that. Okay. All right, feathers. What do I want to do with those? I think I want to make them like a corally color. So let me see if I can find that color that I used on the, I think it's this one. Well, that's kind of the same. I don't want to use that one. So I'm going to use R21 instead. Okay, so I'm going to use one of the colors that I used on the background, but I don't want it to completely blend in. I don't want it to be the same color as the hidden objects and stuff, so I thought that this might be a good color. Yeah, and then I'll add in some detail, and I'll add in some highlights with these two. Okay, and I'll show you kind of how I'll do the feather here. Okay, so I've added that alcohol marker. Now I'm just going to kind of show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use the middle purple pink, the salmon, and the white. And we're just going to flick some of those colors into the feathers. I might need to use, no, this should work. I was going to say I might need to use the my Posca for that, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to go off screen and finish off the feathers, and then we'll be back and attempt to address the other little floaty bits that are in there. Okay, feathers are all done. So I'm going to give you a close-up look of kind of everything that we've done. So you can see the flowers, the feathers, the little hidden objects, the leaves, the rays, the whale. I think it looks pretty cool. Now we just have to figure out what to do with that. And I think what I'm planning is I'm just going to white them out, and then I'm going to add some stickles on top of it. And I think that that's going to make it look nice and sparkly. So that's my plan. Let me grab my stickles. Okay, so to do that, just to make sure I get a nice coverage with my Posca, I'm going to use my white Prisma and go over all of these little bits. And some of them kind of disappear into clouds and go around clouds, and then there's like these little extra bits that are flying around. So yeah, I'm just going to give it a little bit of coverage with my Posca. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want to make sure that this is a nice solid paint covering on these. Do I want to do white? I do have a couple of paint pens now that I'm thinking about it. No, I want white. That was quick. Yeah, so then I'm just gonna, hopefully my Posca will cooperate. I'm just gonna cover it completely as best I can. Sometimes the white Prismacolor helps. It just gives the paint marker something to sit on instead of soaking straight down into the paper. Okay, so like all of these little bits. All right, I'm gonna let that dry a second. I'm gonna hit it with some stickles. It's not gonna be a ton of stickles. Well, if my stickles will cooperate, good Lord. There they go. And I'm just gonna have it be just on the little bits and bobs around. And hopefully that will be enough to kind of separate it from the other elements that are similarly colored. Hope you can see that. Can you see the sparkle on that? I hope so. But I think that is my plan. So I'm going to go through and do all of that. It's going to take me a little bit to do it. But yeah, all of these little just random bits everywhere are just going to be all covered with stickles. And I'm going to have to be careful because I've done wet stickles in the middle of my page like a smart person. So yeah, I'm going to go through and do all the white, and then I'll do the stickles, and then I will be back with you guys here in a minute. Okay, so just as a reminder, this was the inspiration sheet that I created. I do really like all of those images, but I was definitely drawn to this one. And then from that, we got this, and I really love the way it turned out. I'm very happy. I'm going to try something and hope that it doesn't completely mess it up, but I just want to add a little bit of emphasis to this little girl. So I'm going to outline her with white. Try kind of not to go over any of her lines with the white because I just want her to stand out. And then I'm going to add just a few little dots around her because I thought that was cute. I forgot a couple of little bits of stickles here too. Okay, all right, I like that. I think that turned out really cute. I'm gonna hold it up so you can see what we did today, and I yeah, very much like the way that this ended up looking. I was really worried about the background, but it ended up working. You just have to keep playing with your alcohol markers until it gets the look that you want. Still not great, but it's I think it looks cool with that texture in the sky. I did enjoy using the chalk pastels to do the sky and then adding a little bit of pencil over top. And then I really like my whale. I think that's my favorite. I just think he looks cool. And then of course, all of the stickles. Hopefully you can see some of the sparkle on the stickles that I've added in there. I think it looks pretty. Okay, so yeah, that's the page. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope me talking through a little bit of the beginning setup was helpful. I had said at the beginning of this video that it was going to be just, it was going to be 2 videos, but it's going to have to be 1 video because I just kept going and forgot that I had things in the middle that I needed to record and say, so I just kept going. But anyway, so yeah, this is it. I hope you love it, and I hope that you had fun. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.